Okay, so here we are. Okay, so Miguel is an arborist and he needs to calculate the height of the tree that he will be removing from a construction site. The tree is leaning at an angle of 85 degrees with the ground. Okay, Miguel stands 30 meters from the base of the tree and calculates the angle of elevation. There it is again, right? The angle of elevation, which is, it makes sense, right? It's between the horizontal and the line looking up, which is 32 degrees. What is the height of the tree? Okay, so they want the actual height of the tree. And this one is vague. Usually the height of a tree is measured at a 90 degree to the top. Okay, they should have said what's the length of the tree, not the height. So I will ask you to change that. Okay. Because the height is still measured straight down to a 90. Okay, it would not be at an 85 or anything else. It would be at a 90. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and try to solve this. We have everything in here. And do we have a pair? At first glance, we don't, right? No pair. Yet. Okay? We have no pair yet, but we're going to find it. Angle T is going to be 180 minus 32 minus 85. Right? So you take the two that you have, and the rest has to be the value for T, which is 63 degrees. I would box that in. So now I know that this is 63 degrees. Now I have a pair. Use sine law. It's going to be important later on when you review the notes, right? Oh, okay, if I have a pair, I got to use sine law. Right? Cosine law, you cannot do it. It won't help you, okay? So you have your pair. And I'm very much in favor. If you want to always circle your pair, go for it. I will not deduct marks if it's not there. You will not get bonus marks if you do have it, but it's good for you to know, right? So here, again, this is the tricky part is you need to pick the right angle here on the other side based on what they're asking you for. So in a sense, you have to pick 32 because it's across from M. If you picked 85, you'd be finding this one, which they're not interested in. Okay, so sine of 32, not 85, okay, over M. And I think at this point, sorry, I'm going to erase this M here because I don't want you to mix up the M's. Just put, that's why I actually never put the units down in my work. You don't need to have the units, just at the end, your final answer should have, okay? 30 times sine of 32 over sine of 63. And so M is 17.84 meters. Length of tree. And I'll tell you again why it's the length of the tree is not the height of the tree, okay? If you have a structure that goes like this, right? And you're like, how tall is this? You wouldn't measure this length and say, oh yeah, it's that long. You would start from the very top of that structure all the way down to the bottom, and that's the height, right? Length would be from here to here, that's the length. So you have to be at a 90 degree with the ground, right? You have to be at a 90 to be considered the height, okay? We have, yeah. So I'll get you to copy something on the next page there before I give it back to you. There are supplementary angles and there are complementary angles. And I would like you to write this down, and I will add a little something to it, like I'll use a different color, in fact. So supplementary angles are angles whose sum would be 180 degrees. We usually only deal with 2 angles at a time. So 2 angles that add up to 180 would be referred to as supplementary. Complementary are angles whose sum is 90, right? So you're looking at a 90, and that 90 could be split into 2 parts, obviously adding up to 90. And here's the big note that a lot of students forget, and you will encounter a problem here. Since the ground is horizontal, represents an angle of 180 degrees. So the ground is always known as 180. It's a straight line, okay? So if you measure from one point to the other, it's 180 degrees. So if you have any line coming into that, you split it into 2 angles, but they always add up to 180, okay? So using a different color, I'm just going to say here, angles whose sum is 180. So consider a horizontal line, but you're only given this angle here. But there's clearly an indication that this is a horizontal line here. Therefore, just without even a calculator, it's just mental math, right? If this is 30, then this would have to be 150 degrees, right? Combined, there's still 180. If this is 70, then this would have to be 20, right? Because combined, they still add up to 90. Okay, so if you have the ground here, if you split this up, like let's say you come here and there's a line there. If this would be 40, since this whole thing is 180, right? You just go 180 minus 40, so this side would have to be 140 here. So always remember that that property, because it's going to help you big time. Because sometimes you will think that there's no way you can solve anything. So if you apply this property, you'll be fine. Okay. So now it's getting a little trickier, just a little bit. It's not like you can't do it, but right now I want you to do 5, 6, and 7. Do 5, 6, 7. There's 3 word problems under build your skills. So it goes backside and then stop at 7. So you have 15 minutes or so. You should at least try to get 1 or 2 done today before we leave, okay? And I will go over that tomorrow. So this is now your work, and do the rest on your own time, okay?